Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and today, with my absolutely horrendous non-HD camera, as a YouTuber by the name of Douglas McPringles III loves to mention, I am going to be reviewing Mario Tennis Open for the 3DS. But before I do that, I would first like to make a disclaimer to one of my subscribers by the name of King Fuzzy 2. I know his real name, but just in case he doesn't want to reveal it, I'm going to keep him anonymous. Anyway, he has requested that I do more Zero Time Dilemma videos. That's why I've been doing so much of them. And partially because I just love that game. I've played it how many times now? Probably about as many times as I've played Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright. And any excuse that I can get to talk about it, especially if it's from a Catholic perspective, is welcome. So expect them to be on the way and coming at a pretty rapid pace within the next 2 or 3 days, give or take. Anyway, getting into the review with a horrid non-HD camera. Mario Tennis Open is like bubblegum. When you first start eating it, it tastes really good. You get that really strong flavor. And you can, make bubbles with it. Try to make it have different shapes in your mouth with your, tongue camera, if you know what I mean. But then after a while, the gum starts tasting kind of bland, and even though you can still do the same old tricks with it, it doesn't have the same appeal as when it's fresh and has flavor. That was basically my impression of Mario Tennis Open, at first, it was a really refreshing game, especially after I really loved Mario Tennis on the Nintendo 64, but thought that the graphics were incredibly dated and the gameplay was too simple. But then I tried playing Mario Power Tennis, and it was a little bit too gimmicky. Mario Tennis Open, at first glance, struck the perfect mixture between the two, as it was a much more return-to-form version of tennis. Most of the courts were extremely simple. There wasn't really anything overtly catchy about the game. And basically, you just hit certain buttons for different types of shots. There's also an option to hit buttons on the touch screen if you don't feel like using the regular buttons. And there's also these things called chance shots, which are basically icons that appear on the tennis court where the ball is going to land. And if you press the corresponding button or panel on the touch screen, then you'll do a chance shot, which is basically like the power shots in Mario Power Tennis and Mario Tennis Power Tour, but anyone can do it. So in other words, you don't really get as much glimpse into the characters' personalities, therefore making the whole character roster seem kind of pointless. Adding to the fact that by doing good in the minigames and tournaments, you get coins, and you can use those coins to buy additional outfits and gear for your Mii character. The problem with that is, even though it's really cool to have that customizable character, that's kind of like how you customize Mii in Smash Brothers, it gives you an incentive not to want to use the other characters, because you're like, oh, well, Bowser's only a power character, but I'm going to have a powerful and speedy character. But good luck trying to figure out how to do that, because the game has this weird system where when you try to equip an item, it shows pie charts next to how your stats are affected. And seeing as I'm terrible at math, I never learned how to read them. I just said, oh, Mario wristbands, that looks cool, I'll just slap them on. Don't know what they'll do, but we'll see. And that was basically my entire experience with Mario Tennis Open was, don't know what I'm doing, but we'll see what happens. You get into a tournament. At first, you can defeat most of the opponents just by nailing the chance shots, and they won't hit the racket in time, so the ball will hit them and you'll get an automatic point. But then eventually, you can't win unless you use the chance shots. So it's less a matter of actual skillful tennis and more of a matter of get to the spot on the court at the right time and know how to really mash buttons like you're playing Super Smash Brothers. The game definitely wasn't broken by any means. It definitely wasn't bad, but it definitely got a bit samey. Though I will say that the sense of satisfaction you get when you actually do win a tournament is pretty close to that of what I felt after I finally beat the Trial of the Sword in Breath of the Wild's DLC. That sense of, I just defied all the odds! This is amazing! That's probably the best thing about this entire game, along with the game's, for the most part, incredible soundtrack. I say for the most part because each individual court has really good music, especially the one that's themed after Super Mario Galaxy. But you can't hear any of those tunes in a tournament. You just hear the generic tournament music, and the only time it even gets remotely good is when you're in the championship match, where it starts getting to a more epic version of the title screen music. And that's not where the production values take a dip in just that area alone. Also, there's no opening video, which is really shocking because even the Nintendo 64 original had an opening video. We're not going to count the Virtual Boy version. Even the Nintendo 64 version had an opening video. Mario Power Tennis had an even better one with amazing graphics for a GameCube that I would have thought were a Wii U's had I not known any better, with Wario and Waluigi scheming this nefarious plot to take over the tennis tournament. But in Mario Tennis Open, you're just given a sort of overview of all the courts, and you're just taken straight to the title screen. No flair, no fun. The only thing the game does even remotely close to preserving its own identity is in the special games. Now, I know this is an area where most of the critics loved it. Honestly, I was kind of meh about the whole thing. The only thing that I really immensely enjoyed about the special games was the music. Having a super over-the-top yet still orchestral version of the Good Egg Galaxy and Luma Shot was like my one incentive to keep playing the mode. I occasionally would be like, I suppose I can get 30 rallies, but eventually I got bored because after I heard the music, I was just like, I'll just pop in this music and that'll be the end of it. So that was a shame. And as far as games like Ink Showdown, you just shoot balls that are shot out of piranha plants and avoid the ink because then they splatter your screen like the blooper in Mario Kart. Yay. The mode where you have to play Super Mario Brothers with a tennis ball, I could never get the tennis ball to do what I wanted it to do, so the mode was far less interesting than it should have been. And then the fourth one is, let's see, Ring Shot, which that's been in like every Mario Tennis game, and that's no fun either. Also, the courts themselves are extremely lacking in personality. Only the Secret Galaxy court has even the slightest gimmick. Every other one is just the ball bounces differently or moves faster or slower, and that's it. It would have been nice if at least some kind of identity was put into them, but no, they're just generic tennis courts that just happen to have a different coat of paint. And that's disappointing, especially considering all of the gimmick courts in Mario Power Tennis. And if you didn't like them, you could turn them off. But Mario Tennis Open doesn't give you those kind of options. You can't turn off the chance shots, but you can't turn on gimmicks for the court. So it's almost like Camelot sort of got it backwards as far as what most fans wanted. So overall, Mario Tennis Open was okay. It's not a game that I hate, but it's not a game that I love either. It's just the kind of game that is fun for short bursts of time when you've got nothing better to do on a 3DS. But I would definitely not recommend buying this game unless it's either like really on sale, like I got it for 13 bucks, or if you get it for a birthday present. Other than that, just wait for it to be like 2 cents or something like that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you're King Fuzzy 2 or anyone that likes Zero Time Dilemma, please stay tuned for more videos like that. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye.